Are you getting ready to go on a trip to China, maybe Shanghai, or you're just interested in authentic Chinese food? Well, I'm Logan Clements, and I used to live in Shanghai for 5 years, and I'm actually going back now for the first time since COVID, and I'm so excited to eat these four favorite foods that I'm going to list for you. And I love China so much. When I lived there, I still love it, and I just highly encourage you to add these foods to your list to make sure that you have the most delicious trip possible. I'm Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer based in Seattle, Washington, but I execute events here and all over the world. This video is a little different than my other ones about Zoom and event production and things, but you're going to see some more international content as I get back to China this year for some events and start doing events in other parts of the world. And so bear with me. This is something a little fun. I also want to remind you to like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. I'm also the co-host of the Better Events podcast, which I co-host with fellow event pro Mary Davidson, and we drop new episodes every Wednesday, and we dive more into some of these topics that I've had videos on, talked a little bit about the work that I've done internationally at like the Tokyo Olympics. There will be upcoming episodes about my latest adventures in China, so stay tuned and listen wherever you listen to podcasts. I kind of alluded to this in the beginning, but this is a little bit of a departure from my regular content. You are going to start to see a little bit more of this international event work, travel kind of thrown in here as I start doing more and more of that with the world opening up, which is so exciting. But a little bit of context, I used to live in Shanghai from 2014 to 2019, and one of my favorite things about China was the food. And I loved bringing people who came to visit or clients who came in town for events to my favorite food spots. And 2 out of the 4 things I'm going to list are street food, which is like one of my favorite things. I'm going to shout out and link to Untour food tours in Shanghai, which I used to be a tour guide when I lived there. I did the breakfast tour, and you would eat 2 of these 4 things that I'm mentioning on that tour. And so if you're going, I highly, highly recommend them. They're not just in Shanghai, they're other places as well. And they just do really authentic, like actual food you would eat if you lived there, and all of the people that they work with, like the shops they go to, the restaurants, they are locals that they're helping support. So it's a very, very cool experience. But anyway, without further ado, your stomach might be rumbling because mine is too. Let's talk about my 4 favorite dishes in China. Now, my first one, feast your eyes on this lovely dish. This is a jianbing. This is a breakfast pancake, and I am so excited to eat this, folks. I have not been able to find a good replacement for this here in the US. There are fancy jianbings. I think I had one in New York City and paid like $16, which made my heart hurt because this is like $1 on the streets in Shanghai, and it just wasn't the same. It was like too fancy. But I always say it's the perfect combination of like savory, spicy, sweet, and crunchy. So it's really hitting all of those notes. And my favorite place to buy them are honestly like the mom and pop shops on the corner, kind of a hole in the wall. The lady I like to go to in Shanghai on our food tour would not be there after like 11 a.m. So it was a dinner restaurant that let her work out of the front of it during the morning times. So if you need to know where to find this, I encourage you to ask like your concierge at your hotel or your host or the hotel staff, like where do they go to get breakfast? Because that's going to be the most authentic place for you to find one of these. And a classic jianbing includes the pancake, this like crepe-like mixture, a cracked egg, scallion onions, some pickled mustard, tubers. Sounds weird, but they're so good. Cilantro, red bean paste, a little chili oil, and some crispy wonton skin. And that gives it that crunch. And you'll find some people add some other little kind of like their version of their Worcestershire sauce to it, but it's so good. Like people, I'm telling you, when I go in September, it is going to be the first thing I eat, and I'm going to probably try to eat multiple per day. And my second food that you need to eat when you go to China is xiaolongbao, or the soup dumplings. You might have heard these in the US. We have Din Tai Fung is a Taiwanese chain that has made them kind of famous, but they are steamed pork dumplings that have this delicious kind of soup inside of them. They're very easy to burn your tongue on, and then you usually dip them in vinegar and ginger. And again, the xiaolongbao that you get at Din Tai Fung are going to be very fancy, and they're known for their beautiful folds. My favorite place again in Shanghai was like a little hole in the wall. I think it was about, again, like $1 US or $1.50 to eat. And it was, you got in to eat and you got out. This was not a place to sit down and socialize. You'd often have someone over your shoulder waiting to get your seat once you'd finish your soup dumplings. My pro tip that I love, and that's what this picture is really helpful with the spoon. You need a spoon and chopsticks, and we always taught this on our food tours. But you want to take a little bite out of the soup dumpling, and then that lets some of the heat get out, because that soup inside the dumpling just keeps it so hot. You're gonna just burn your tongue or make a mess all over yourself. Those are both not bad things, but if you burn your tongue, you can't really taste the rest of the food. So I always say, bite it, like blow on it, bite that whole, eat that little tiny piece, and then either like wait a few seconds or blow on it to cool. Then you actually sip all of the soup out of the dumpling, and then dump what's left, the wrapper with the meat still on the inside. Then you dump that in the vinegar. So you're actually getting all that beautiful juices. You're not burning your tongue, and it's pretty great. If you just try to bite right in, you're definitely gonna get it on yourself, or maybe on your friend or your neighbor next to you. And my third one, we're sticking with the soup dumpling theme. These are shangjianbao, which are fried soup dumplings. So again, similar to regular soup dumplings, they have soup inside of them, but they're fried on the bottom. And their skin's gonna be a little thicker than what you're used to with the soup dumplings, but it's the exact same thing. They're just not fully steamed. They're actually pan fried. In this picture, those are so delicious. I cannot wait to eat these. Similar eating technique to your dumplings. If anything, you need to be more careful since they're pan fried. They're gonna be extra hot. So make sure you bite that little hole, drink the soup out, and then dig into the dumpling. And I just, oh my gosh, I love these. If you want to find them more of a chain that's around all of China, you can try Yang's dumplings or Yang's dumplings if you want to be official. But they are a chain or a mom and pop shop. Again, these are my favorite, like right off the side of the road. Just so good. Before I get into my fourth one, I should say there's a ton of food I love to eat in China. This is a very truncated list that lets, like, if you go, please eat these 4 things. And my fourth one, you're gonna know, it's been westernized. We have it here in Seattle, is nai cha, or bubble tea. This is super popular. You might have heard it as boba tea or pearl milk tea. I just love this because it's just, again, it was a nice, when it's hot in Shanghai and humid, you just really want a cold drink sometimes. The bubbles or pearls are actually those chewy tapioca beads. So those are those like darker colored beads inside the drink. They kind of have like a gummy texture, and you can eat them. They're not made of plastic or anything harmful, but you can also have popping boba, which they're usually filled with liquids. They have a hard outside and you bite into it, kind of like a fish egg, I feel like does that too, where it's a hard outside but juicy inside. And then you can also put jelly, you can put all kinds of puddings, like you can really customize it to what you like. Mine is honestly just the classic bubble tea with tapioca beads, or in Chinese as we would call it, Zhenju Nai Cha. I also enjoy that in Shanghai, when you order it, you do tell them exactly how much ice you want, like little, no ice, a little bit of ice, medium ice, lots of ice. I think they kind of fell on the medium ice. And then you would also tell them the sugar levels. So do you want little, medium, or lots of sugar in your nai cha, which again, I always think is really funny. But so those are only 4 of the things I would recommend. I'm also going to link, I have a Shanghai guide that I built. It lives on my website. I'll put a link to it here and above so you can go and reference it, just about tips about getting around China, restaurants to eat at, more than just those 4 food things. And I also have a paid version, which is a downloadable, which I know when I traveled, I loved having things I could download and keep on my phone. So it's about, I think I have it listed for like $15 so far. So if you or someone you love is planning a trip to China soon, I highly encourage you to download it and have it with you, because it's just going to help give you that little bit of local flair. And I can't wait to update it after my recent travels this fall. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's a little different about my travels in China, but I'm Logan Clements. I'm a freelance event producer based in Seattle, Washington, and I do events in China and all over the world. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.